Welcome to Lola's Frugal Life Podcast. If you're on a mission to be more frugal with both your time and money, you're in the right place. In this podcast, we talk about topics that help enhance living a frugal lifestyle. The goal is to save time and money where we can so that we can use the rest on what matters most to us. We talk a lot about both time and money management so that we can waste as little as possible on both. We do this while also embracing a progress over perfection mindset. If that sounds good to you, then please stick around for the latest episode right after a few quick words from our sponsor. Hi everyone, welcome back to my weekly meal plan episode. If you're new here, this is just a quick episode that I do that comes out every Wednesday where I share with you my meal plan for my family for the upcoming week. This is also included on my blog post as a blog post on my website at www.lolasfrugallife.com. There's a blog post each week that comes out the same day as the podcast episode with the weekly meal plan. It includes links to any recipes that I might mention in this episode that can be found on specific websites. So this week's meal plan starts on Saturday, July 29th. So for Saturday, we're going to be doing Cuban-style pork chops, which is from foodnetwork.com. And this is a pork chop recipe that I love to make at least a couple times in the summer. It does take a little bit longer only because you have to marinate the pork chops and then you stuff them with ham and Swiss cheese. But I think it comes out so delicious. It's to me, one of those fancy style recipes. And it's just made on the grill, but it just comes out so good. And one tip I have here, it does call for using thicker pork chops and butterflying them, but what I found more easy to do is I get the really, really thin boneless pork chops. I would imagine some places have them, or you could just cut them yourself rather than butterflying them. I get them at Aldi, but they're super thin. And I just kind of stack it instead of trying to shove the ham and Swiss into a butterflied pork chop. I just find it much easier to kind of put them together and grill them that way. But that's just a little tip. So anyway, we're going to be doing those, and we're going to be doing Hellman's original potato salad, which is from food.com, on the side with that. For Sunday, I'm going to be doing bow ties with sausage, tomatoes, and cream. This is from allrecipes.com. This is one of those skillet meals where you cook up some ground sausage and you add tomatoes and cream and you cook it all up and you make some bow tie pasta on the side and stir it all in and it's done. It's just one of those one pot type meals. For Monday, we are doing grilled chicken on the grill, obviously. I'm going to just take some chicken breast and marinate it. And I usually use the McCormick chicken or Montreal chicken. I think it's called Montreal chicken by McCormick seasoning. And I'll just throw that on the grill. And then I'm going to make air fryer roasted cauliflower and broccoli, which is from allrecipes.com. I think the link to this recipe now just says air fryer roasted cauliflower. It's funny because it used to say and broccoli. But I don't know if the person that created it decided to change it to just broccoli. I usually do one or the other. I don't do both. So I just kind of use it as a placeholder. And I'll either buy cauliflower or broccoli. They both come out good in the air fryer. And then as another side, I'm going to be making a caprese salad, which is from allrecipes.com, because I have a bunch of cherry tomatoes on my back deck that are pretty much perfect to start picking right now. So last time I made this salad, I made it with store-bought cherry tomatoes, but this time I can use my own fresh ones, and I also have fresh basil. So all I really need to buy to make this is some mozzarella cheese. So that is for Monday. For Tuesday, we always do some type of Mexican theme meal. So we are going to be doing cheesy chicken nacho recipe, which is from realsimple.com. It's just a basic nacho recipe. And then on the side, we will put out a bunch of toppings and everyone can make their own nachos. We do avocado and salsa and some sour cream and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're doing for Tuesday. For Wednesday, we always do some type of seafood. I usually do baked salmon every 2 weeks or so. So we are having baked salmon this week. For this one, I don't have a recipe link, but I will be doing I will be just throwing it in the oven like I always do. I get frozen salmon fillets and defrost them. I brush them with olive oil and season them with Smokehouse Maple Seasoning by McCormick, and I bake it in the oven at 450 degrees for about 12 minutes, and it comes out perfect. While that's cooking, I throw some egg noodles on the stove, and then I'll do a package of frozen vegetables that I can just put in the microwave. So that's for Wednesday rather, for the seafood meal. Sorry, I got distracted. Then for Thursday, we usually do breakfast for dinner or soup, and sometimes with grilled cheese. This week we're going to be doing breakfast for dinner. I usually do some type of egg bake or like scrambled eggs and bacon or something like that. But this week I'm going to do kind of like almost a dessert-y type breakfast meal. It's French toast casserole. So for this, you put cubed bread, eggs, milk, sugar, and vanilla, and margarine, and it says margarine, I'll just use butter because that's what I have, and ground cinnamon, and you bake it up in the oven. I'm not reading through the exact recipe, so I don't know exactly if that just all gets thrown in or how the assembly part works, but anyhow, that's essentially what it is. It does have to bake in the oven for 50 minutes, so I'm hoping that it's not super hot that day, but if it is, oh well, I'll have to deal with that. So that is what we're doing for our breakfast for dinner meal. Oh, and I'm also going to do some turkey bacon. Although, now that I'm thinking of it, I may change that. Now, I probably could still do it. That takes like 20 minutes in the oven too, like closer to probably 15. But actually, once the other French toast casserole is done, I could probably just pop the bacon in the oven real quick and then just cook that afterwards. So that's for Thursday. For Friday, we are doing hamburgers. Monday used to be my hamburger night, but I switched it to Fridays for a few reasons that I talked about in a previous episode that I'm not going to get into now. It was nothing super major, just more convenience of making sure I could use fresh ingredients earlier in the week, which this meal doesn't really require. So this week we are doing our hamburgers. We're going to be doing them every other Friday now instead of every other Monday. So I don't have a recipe to share for the hamburgers. I just take some ground meat and put it into patties and cook it either on the stovetop or on the grill, depending on the weather. Then I'm also going to be doing oven fresh seasoned potato wedges from allrecipes.com. And then also a can of pork and beans. So that is our Friday meal. So that is the last meal for this week's meal plan. I hope this was helpful to you or inspired you in some way to get your meal plan together. So I thank you so much for listening, and I will see you back here next week. So thank you for checking in for this podcast episode. And don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Lola's Frugal Life. And you can find a blog post for most of my episodes and definitely all of my meal plan episodes at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I could see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast. Those ratings and reviews are what help the show come up better in search results so that other people can find this podcast. So that will really help me in growing my audience. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.